5.5 years ago, I had a CAT scan and for a suspected appendicitis, which I didn't have. So when they put the contrast dye in, I immediately went into anaphylactic shock and stayed there for just over 48 hours.
Wait, tell everybody what anaphylactic shock is.
Anaphylactic shock is, maybe you're aware of a nut allergy. So your airways close over, your tongue swells to bigger than your head, and then you go blue and need to be resuscitated. Yeah. So, so yeah, I basically was like this from that moment. And I got told about a year and a half after that I needed to move or die. So I managed to rock out a pretty nifty bit of manifestation and got myself and my chap a lovely place up a mountain in Wales so I could have lovely clean air because I was in Bristol and the pollution was pretty manic. So the beautiful Welsh people and their air got me so far. And then I realised that it had become a habit and it was part of me at that point. I found Joe's work in December the 19th last year and started just figuring it out. And then in April, I got the breath for the very first time. And I just knew that I had to come to this event, and my beautiful friend Georgia very kindly gifted me the online courses and just loved me.
And did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Of course you did.
So Georgia and I were doing the when's he coming to England, and then I think you came to a 2-day or something, didn't you?
1 day.
1 day. And I had a little bit of a temper tantrum about that one.
But tell them why, because you couldn't go outside, you couldn't be in the presence of people, you couldn't be in any normal environment, anything that would alarm your immune system. You were sensitive to just about everything. So because you were sensitive to everything, you spend the majority of your time away from everybody, away from everything. Yeah, you are sensitive to your environment. So the only way that you survive is take yourself out of the environment. If you put yourself back in the environment and have an anaphylactic reaction, then the anticipation of the fear of the next one becomes the reality. You understand? And the thought of it over time actually creates the anaphylactic reaction, the anticipation of it based on the past. That's a program. And it's a difficult one to overcome because, you live in a body and then you start feeling anxiety or fear, a loss of control. In the face of stepping outside, it's that very emotion that signals the whole reaction. Fear is reaffirming the weakening of the immune system. And so then you stop making choices to navigate in your environment, and now you're a victim to pretty much everything in your life. So, and then the process with most people is that they keep eliminating things thinking that that's the solution. You understand? But the solution has to come from within. Anyway, go ahead.
So, yeah, basically it was me, my chap, and my cat in Wales for a very long time, and just to make it here, I had to stay in the house for over a month. And at the end of October, just before I did my month-long stay in the house, I'd gone to Menorca to see my family, and unfortunately got put on a diesel bus at the airport and immediately went into full-blown shock, no warning, no build-up. And I just remember being on the bus and thinking, I can't die in front of all these people. I can't do this. So thankfully, I didn't. And from that minute on, every time I got freaked out, or every time I swelled or started choking, which happened pretty much every night, all through the night, I would just think of being here and just, being there, dancing with my lovely mate, until it became my reality.
Well, tell them the letter you wrote, because you wrote a letter and you said, hey, I have this health condition. I have severe anaphylactic reactions from just about anything. They're daily. I have to be, when they happen, it's sometimes very severe. And of course, my thing is to give someone an opportunity. We want to always give somebody an opportunity, but at the same time, we want to make sure that person is balanced emotionally so that they're self-aware enough to take care of themselves and they're not a disruption to the rest of the group during meditations. I mean, if there's an emergency like that repeatedly, it disrupts the group. So we had to check in with her to find out who she was, and my staff and team, had a great interview with her as I was driving here from London on Saturday, and I said, how was she? It's great. I let her in. Let's go. Let's give her the opportunity to master this. Anyway, so she wrote the letter, and we placed her up top there because it was a way for her to be separate from everybody, and she wore her mask, and, of course, she has a quick way out if she needs it, but I noticed she's just starting to dance a little bit more and move around a little bit more. I mean, how did you do that? I mean, what did you do? I mean, you obviously don't need a mask, am I correct? Don't look like you're doing too bad over there. Doesn't look like airways or any clothes at all. Look at all these germs out there. Look at that. A whole hell of a lot of them.
I forgot the question, sorry.
How did you do it?
How did I do it? Okay.
You're the example of truth.
Yeah. So on Monday, I was maxed out on all the drugs I have with me. And every time I swelled, I would just go to my heart and I would breathe and just open my heart and love myself until I calmed down and got over it.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not pass that one up too quickly. Let's break it down for the doubters out there. You mean you started noticing that loss of control, you started noticing that fear, you started noticing the body responding to your mind in that way, and you actually applied
Yeah, I did.
You applied what we've been learning right in that moment, and you mastered a little bit more of that fear, and you surrendered to love instead of surrendering to fear, because it could be as easy if you just make the choice. And tell me, when you were doing your meditations, how was your practice in opening your heart? I mean, did you think if I keep practicing opening my heart, I should be better at it the next time, so I maybe could master a little bit more of that fear and that loss of control?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, just curious.
Then Miles came up on the stage and just blew me away. And I just thought, well, if he can do it, I can definitely do it.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second.
Thanks, Miles, wherever you are.
I'm waking up in my dream over here. Give me a minute. Miles, where are you? Are you out in the chorus or are you here? Where are you, babe? Miles, look whose life you changed just by living truth, huh?
Hey, Josie.
You changed someone's life just by giving yourself life. You're the example of truth, and look what it does. One person sees you and sees your beauty and your humility and your strength and your simplicity and your courage and your will. And they look at you and they think, my goodness, this guy overcame cancer, stage 4, tumors all through his brain. I'm doing all right. And she associated the story that Miles told her. An allegory is a great way to lead someone right out of their neurological network. She associated the story that Miles told with her story, with herself. She aligned with the same energy, the same timeline. She saw a possibility in him And when she did, she saw a possibility in herself. The evidence did that. Now, not only is it in the field as a footprint for her to step into, but now it's in three-dimensional reality. It's down here. It's evidence. So then she associates mirror neurons, herself, with the next experience for herself. She could be the next one. And she just chooses herself and was mastering that fear and loss of control and all the things that go along with an anaphylactic shock challenging. You bet. You bet. But she loves herself.
I do.
The fact that she did it.
Thank you. I love you all. I'm really looking forward to going home and telling my chap I don't need the funeral plan that I wrote on Thursday. So that's pretty groovy. It's only been a week.
Now, what do you do for a living? Or what did you do for a living?
I was a therapist.
Oh, a therapist.
So a lot of...
analysis.
Sorry?
A lot of analysis. A lot of analysis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of the practices, the modalities that I studied in came from, the same ideas that, that you're sharing with us. So pretty much from the moment it happened, I knew I had to be mindful of, the fact that it could become a habit and all of those lovely things. But I guess I needed a bigger push than I could give myself.
You just needed to leave the Shire.
Yeah.
Go on an adventure. Stop eating bacon and eggs.
When I lived in Bristol, I lived in Shirehampton.
I'm not surprised. But now listen, this is evidence. This is evidence. And how many days we've been at this? What is today? Thursday? We really started Tuesday. We're 2 days and a little bit into it here. She makes the choice to step outside and step out of the known and really realize that the boundary of that known is just about a bunch of programs and emotions, primarily fear and self-analysis and self-judgment and all the stuff that goes around that divides energy right here. And she's got to get beyond her analytical mind and just connect to the program where it exists and begin to change it. And when you open your heart, you enter the subconscious mind. That's what it does. We have the research. And so she's stepping in and she's changing something about her. And then because she feels differently, she trusts that she can step outside a little further. And she steps out of the box and she regulates. And when she regulates, the feedback she gets is that it's okay. She's okay. Because she has the tools now to do it. So she's applying the tool. And then the boundary gets a little bit bigger, and her heart opens a little bit more, and she feels more trust. And she steps outside of that edge, that next boundary, and she self-regulates. And she doesn't go into fear, the normal program. She's regulating with a tool called love. And every time she does that, her immune system gets a little bit stronger. Salivary immunoglobulin A goes up, the immune system starts working in cadence and rhythm, and now it can memorize anything in the environment, and she's becoming greater than her environment now. And every time she realizes she's becoming greater than her environment, then she realizes she's less of a victim to her environment and more of control over her inner environment, which should change her outer environment. Are you with me still? And she takes her power back. Takes her power back from the past, from all the things and all the people and all the reasons why she felt that way. And there's a reorganization of energy in a matter of moments. She doesn't look very sick to me. Does she look sick to you? She looks pretty amazing to me.
I feel pretty groovy.
In fact, they were pointing to her dancing down here, and I didn't know what they were talking about because I didn't recognize her. But now she gets to show her face to the world. She gets to come back to the world.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to tell them?
I love you all. You all rock. And you can all do it too.